Hello everybody, welcome back to Excellent Anime Reviews, and we are back to reviewing a brand new episode of Beastars, so without further ado, let's talk about it. We start off this episode by seeing this leopard named Sheila taking a picture with Donkey's sister and this lamb who's happened to be called Peach. And they're taking a selfie with each other, as Sheila says that even though she is a leopard, she's also very sensitive. She says that to herself internally, and she's of course worried about being seen in the picture with Peach because the atmosphere around the school has not been the best one ever since, Chibi, got his arm ripped off. Sheila happens to know Juno, as they're both carnivores, and seeks some advice from her because, she looks up to Juno, which, you really shouldn't be asking a person who resembles a crazy stalker ex for advice because Juno has her own set of unique problems. Juno tells Sheila that she should try, taking a picture with an herbivore or two and be more friendly. And what I'm getting from it is that Sheila doesn't like that carnivores are seen as villains just because, there have been a couple of bad instances that involve carnivores, and she's getting visibly pissed before asking Peach to hang out with it being only just the two of them. So they go to the mall, hang out, and do a little shopping. And from this little montage, we can see that Sheila, who was a little bit resistant at being friends with an herbivore, since, that would only attract negative attention, she has changed her stance. And now we see a friendship that starts to form between the two. We then go back to the black market at night, and of course, it's raining. And someone who works at one of the booths has to throw away some of the meat scraps as the rain has, ruined it. But a carnivore is hiding in the trash and steals the meat that is being thrown away, and he goes into some part of an alley and he starts to eat the meat. And I think it's a little symbolic that this animal sort of looks like Legoshi, just because I think they did it on purpose to show that if Legoshi doesn't control himself, and if worse comes to worse, that he will look exactly like this. We then see Gohan and Legoshi looking over this animal, which is a hyena, by the way, and they're looking at him like they're on top on some balcony, and they're looking like they're fucking superheroes who are about to stop some bad guys from robbing a bank. Gohan then explains that this hyena has a really, really bad meat addiction, as Legoshi questions whether or not he really is getting stronger, but Gohan reassures him that if his jaw is weak, then that's proof that his meat resistance training is indeed working. Gohan tells Legoshi that they're going to try to capture this hyena since it is Gohan's job to rehabilitate him. But before they do that, Gohan asks Legoshi if he felt sad about losing his jaw strength. And Legoshi says no, not really, before Gohan puts on the Hannibal Lecter mask and basically yeets him off of the building. This, of course, attracts the attention of the hyena, who's looking for any sort of meat that he can eat, as the two square up. And there is this certain detail that I like, and it's the fact that you can see how desperate this hyena has, become to eat meat, because you can see that he's even taken off pieces of his own flesh to satisfy his own cravings. Legoshi does end up getting bitten in his arm, but all of a sudden, he starts to enter in beast mode, as the hyena can't take his fangs off of Legoshi's arm. Legoshi rips his arm free before saying that he'll express his emotions with his limbs, and that he doesn't need fangs to win this fight. So he basically pulls a Kiryu Kazuma and smashes this guy's head into a wall. So Gohen's training, it really is working, but not in the way that we would all think it would. We then cut to see the Mask of Adler from Season 1, as the director of Drama Club wants Juno to play the lead role of Adler. I think it's a little weird that they do the same show more than once, because I actually was in Drama Club and we never did the same show twice, so I just thought it was a little weird. As we cut to see Sheila and a zebra, the zebra from Drama Club, I can't remember her name, talking about how they don't like that the school is gonna be separated between carnivores and herbivores. And although Juno says that she's on board and she also doesn't want that to happen, we hear her thoughts. And she's actually in favor of them being separate, carnivores and herbivores. And all the Juno simps out there get this nice, salacious shot of Juno's body, but for me, all I see is... As Juno leaves the dressing room, she then sees Haru, and of course she gets all sort of pissed off, and guess what, to no one's surprise, she of course starts to fucking stalk her, as she is this crazy fucking stalker ex. Juno follows Haru all the way to the gardening club, and they finally do see each other, but for some reason... Haru can't remember Juno's name. It seems as though Haru doesn't remember the fact that Juno had indeed chased her. Juno tries to leave, but Haru grabs her by her tail and gives her this creepy-ass smile, followed by an even creepier laugh. We then see Juno, who is actually helping Haru in the gardening club. And after a box nearly falls on top of Haru, Juno gets angry and says that she shouldn't be so reckless, before she asks if being helpless is why Legoshi is so attracted to her. And Haru tells her that they don't necessarily have to talk about him, and that she's just fine talking to a girl. Now, I think that she does remember Juno, and the fact that, Juno chased her, but chose to ignore it, since Juno, even though she is all the way up here and she doesn't like Haru, Juno isn't treating her like complete shit, like how every single other girl in school usually does. And as they're eating, because they then cut to them eating, we get this weird, almost a little bit lesbian moment where it looks like they're going to kiss, as Juno admits to herself that carnivores are inferior to herbivores. And the reason why I think she says that is because all of the recent incidents, like Tem's murder and Chibi's arm being ripped off, all of those have been caused by carnivores. And carnivores are indeed wild animals that give into their desires, while herbivores usually don't harm anyone, aside from Louis killing the Shishigumi boss, but that's a whole different entire argument. Juno says that Haru is kawaii, before doubting herself that she could even become a Beastar, and that, she says that she's not even equal to Louis, before telling Haru that she should try to call Louis because he's been worried about her. And then she just gets on out of there. We then get a flashback between Haru and Louis having this tender moment with one another, and it suddenly stops as Ibuki wakes Louis up from this dream that he just had, and he's questioning when was the last time he, even dreamt of Haru. And of course Louis, he's got some business to attend to at the black market. We then see Louis, Shishigumi, a couple of rats, and a crocodile all locked up. Not all of them, just the crocodile's locked up. And what I think is a goat, he looks like a goat, so I'm gonna say he's a goat. But this goat is in a wheelchair. The goat says that all that he really wants before he dies is to spend one more night with his wife. And these rats have, this crocodile locked up. And the crocodile, what basically is going to go down is that the crocodile is going to get a part of his body chopped off. That's just how it's going to go down. Even the crocodile knows it. He says, it's fine, just chop off something that, that isn't significant. Chop off something that I won't miss. Chop off something that, I can live without. But after the goat says that he wants to spend one more night with his wife, it's pretty much established that the crocodile is getting his dick cut off. And so they're preparing him for the dick chopping as Ibuki covers Louie's eyes, like our moms did whenever a pair of boobs showed up in a movie. But Louie takes Ibuki's hand off of his eyes, saying that what he's about to see was nothing compared to the prison that he grew up in. After the dick cutting is over, we see Louie on a roof as Ibuki joins him, and it turns out that they both have a lot in common, as it turns out, because Ibuki also spent some time in the same prison that Louie was in before he even managed to join Shishigumi. He somehow escaped from that hell and said that he had wanted to start a new life. And I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why Ibuki has sort of been looking out for Louie, because he knows exactly what Louie's been through. And maybe that's why he even saved Louie at the end of season 1 after he killed Shishigumi's boss, because they would have ate Louie in a second. But Ibuki was the one that saved him. So maybe that adds to a reason why he's, caring after Louie. Speaking of Louie, he receives a phone call before saying that the life of a weakling is filled with sin, as he looks at the phone and drops it off of the building. And as it falls to the ground, we see that it is indeed Haru, the one that was calling him. And that's how this episode ends. Louie. This need to seem as though he's strong, he's the top of the pack, he is the alpha male, this need is going to be the thing that leads to his demise. I'm calling it right now. Now, this episode in and of itself was pretty good, and although there was no follow-up after everything with Riz and that major bombshell that was dropped on us last week, we still got a lot of good stuff from this episode. And, can't wait to see what happens in the next one. You gotta believe that something involving Riz is going to happen in the next episode. You gotta believe it. You gotta believe it. If they didn't do it this episode, they're gonna do it in the next one. But that's been it for this episode, reviewing Beastars, the latest episode. Do me a favor, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Make sure you guys hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I have been Excellent Anime Reviews, and I will see you all as soon as I can.